Hello there, and welcome back to my channel. Today's going to be something a little bit different. I wanted to talk to you today about my illness and the impacts of my illness, of fibromyalgia. The reason I want to make this video today is, well, it's a huge part of my life, and also fibromyalgia is an incredibly misunderstood ailment to have, a disorder to have. And there are countless videos out there on YouTube and across social media, and I've watched many of those videos myself. I just thought that perhaps I would make one myself today. So a little history, how I came about being diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Basically, I started experiencing some chronic pain issues in my early 30s, and then later on in my mid to late 30s I contracted parvovirus B19, not to be confused with the ones, the parvovirus that dogs get. And so basically of course I didn't know what was going on at the time, and then I saw a doctor and she basically said, well, you're going to feel pretty crummy for maybe a couple of months and then you'll be fine. So I thought, great, okay, I can take that. That didn't happen. I got worse. And so because I was getting worse, my doctors suggested or prescribed prednisone. Never again. I sadly got pretty much all the side effects that you could get from taking prednisone, and it took about 9 months to wean my body off that stuff, and that was just a horrible experience. The prednisone itself made me feel so much worse than the parvovirus at the time that I had. Made me feel worse than that, and so that's saying something because I felt pretty rough. While I was on the prednisone, I could not be on my own. Joel had to be with me pretty much all the time. So moving forward from that, as I wasn't getting any better, I just thought, okay, well, maybe my body's just taking some time to recover. Maybe it's just, you know, I'm not getting over this parvovirus as quickly as originally thought. And then the doctor said, well, yeah, it sounds like you've got some chronic symptoms there, so, you know, just basically live with it, because I didn't want to take any more prednisone. So I thought, okay. I just kept moving on with life as you do, and up until my early to mid 40s I was still teaching, I was still working, I was participating in the local arts festival and markets, and then it just got to a point where I was getting to the end of the days feeling just dreadful. I was experiencing just intense pain and fatigue, and it was just, I was worn out with it, and it got to a point where I just couldn't do it any longer, and I had to basically give up the teaching, give up work. It was horrible. It was really horrible. It got to a point where I thought, okay, I need to start seeing some more doctors, so I basically made appointments to see one doctor after another, and unfortunately, I ended up being gaslit a lot of the time, which unfortunately that's very common, especially with fibromyalgia, because it's so misunderstood, and a lot of doctors just don't know how to treat it or how to diagnose it. There are no specific tests for fibromyalgia. It's basically a diagnosis of elimination, which basically means if you get a good doctor or a decent one, they will test you for lots and lots of things that match the symptoms that you have. Once you if they all come back negative and you're still experiencing all those symptoms, that's usually when fibromyalgia is diagnosed. And that's what happened to me, but not with what I'd call a regular doctor. That sounds weird. I decided to do some research because I wasn't getting anywhere, to be quite honest. And so I did a lot of research about naturopathic doctors and functional medicine practitioners. What I love about a functional medicine practitioner and a naturopathic doctor is that they do go through all the usual training to become a doctor, and then they have further training to become a naturopathic doctor or a functional medicine practitioner. So I thought, talked to my hubby about it, and we thought, well, what have we got to lose at this point? I was just constantly in pain every single day. I was fatigued. I couldn't sleep. The insomnia was getting really bad. I just felt lost, completely lost. I didn't know what to do with myself. So I made an appointment to see a naturopathic doctor, and that didn't go quite as well as I would have hoped. He was not very empathetic, let's just say that. Basically, he said, "Do you realise how much you sigh when you're talking?" Of course I do. I'm in pain 24/7. I've been putting up with this for years. Of course I'm sighing. I'm fed up of it. I want some answers. Please, please help me. He didn't. So I decided not to see him again and researched another local naturopathic doctor and found a functional medicine doctor. And she was pretty good, and I felt really happy to have found her. She ordered so many tests to rule out all the things that I could have had. They all came back negative. I mean, honestly, if you look at my medical results, I should be really healthy, but I'm not. So that's when she diagnosed me with fibromyalgia. Now, treating fibromyalgia is pretty complicated because there really aren't any tried and true medications out there. I mean, there are a couple. The only thing is I am so sensitive to medications, and especially after my experience with prednisone, I really just didn't want to go that route. So I decided to go the route of supplements and lifestyle changes, dietary changes, all that sort of thing. Now that helps, but it doesn't cure. There is no cure for fibromyalgia. There is only managing the symptoms of fibromyalgia. And the supplements I take, it's a mix of herbs and vitamins. And I must admit, there are some times when I think, are these actually doing anything? Are they really helping me? And then you forget to take them for maybe a couple of days, which, I have done that a couple of times. If I've been ill with something else and I've just haven't taken them, then I realise, yes, they do actually help me. If I didn't take these supplements, I would be in a much worse state, and I really don't want that because I'm already in a bad enough state with it as it is. So why am I doing this video? Well, I think because my symptoms have become progressively worse over the last 6 months or so since I had my accident and broke my hand and my wrist and my elbow. I definitely have noticed my symptoms ramped up, and it's been a really rough 6 months, I have to admit. And I'm not doing this to be whiny or feeling sorry for myself, and I don't want sympathy or anything like that. I think what I really am trying to do is get it out there, what it feels like to live with fibromyalgia. And I'll go through some of my symptoms in a little bit, just to give you an idea. Some of them are not pretty, but I think it's important that if you have a friend or a relative who is struggling with fibromyalgia, it can help to maybe try and understand a little bit about what they're going through. I I've lost friends along the way. They've kind of just drifted from me. I mean, that happens in life anyway, doesn't it? But I think when you become chronically ill, it happens a bit more than you would want. I have a very small circle of friends around me that are very empathetic and understanding, and if we make plans to get together and I can't do it, they totally get it and they totally understand, and that means the world to me, because honestly, I don't want to cancel plans. I don't want to not do things. I don't want to miss out. And that's what happens when you get chronically ill. I think the main thing is sometimes you feel kind of left out. You feel forgotten. And as sad as that sounds, it's just true. And so I think one of the main things I would say, if you have a friend or relative who has fibromyalgia or any chronic illness, please don't give up on them. Don't forget them, because sometimes it's just easy to forget about people. And you know, there have been times when I felt incredibly lonely, because I used to be such a sociable person. I would go out all the time. I would be just traveling places. I went back to England 8 years ago. That was right in the middle of me kind of figuring out what was going on with my health. And I tell you, I did that trip on my own, and I went for a month, and I loved the visit, but I knew after that I don't think I could do it again. It absolutely, it floored me when I came home. When I flew back home, my body just struggled to recover from just flying back home and visiting a few friends and family. And that's heartbreaking for me, because I love my friends and what family I don't have very much family back home anymore, but the people I do have back home, I miss tremendously, and I really wish I could just hop on a plane and go and visit and do all the things that I used to do. But unfortunately, that's just too difficult to do. I could do it if Joel came with me, I think. Anyway, I'm moving off there. So, as you can probably tell, I am feeling a little worn out with the whole thing. And so just to give you an idea of symptoms that I experience on a daily basis, number one is pain. Definitely, that is the number one thing. So my main areas of pain are my shoulders, my neck, my spine, my hips, my head, my jaw, my hands. I think I've already said hands and elbows. Did I say hands and elbows? That's another thing. You get what's called fibro fog. You forget things. You could be saying something 1 minute and forget you've said it and say it again in the next minute. And I have done that a few times. It's really annoying, actually. Other symptoms that I experience are, I call them my electric shock pains. And basically, because fibromyalgia is considered a neurological condition, my brain isn't wired to process pain signals the way that a regular healthy person would have. So I get in these intense, sharp bursts of what feels like an electric shock. That the worst one I get is across from one shoulder to the next, and it goes all the way across my neck and through, and it just feels like an electric bolt has gone right through you. And it is the weirdest sensation, and it knocks me for six, and I almost fall over when it happens. Because it happens just out of the blue. It could happen now while I'm doing the video. Hopefully not. What else? You get digestive issues, so I take probiotics to help with that. The most concerning pain do get, which is really frightening when it happens, you get pain that mimics a heart attack. And so thankfully I have not had a heart attack. I understand the symptoms of heart attacks in females, because you really do need to know all this stuff anyway. And I can't say the full name of what it's it begins with a C, and it's Costochondritis. I can't say it. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the description. But basically what it is, it's inflammation that you get in your rib cage. And it basically mimics the pain that you get if you're having a heart attack. So I have to really keep my eye on that, because, you know, one day if that happens and then I get all the other symptoms, that's when you need an ambulance. What else? My hair breaks, which is why I have short hair. My scalp hurts. So I can't do much with my hair because it just hurts to do so. Even sometimes brushing my hair can really hurt, because my nerves are on overdrive. They are hypersensitive. So sometimes I can't wear certain clothes because they irritate my skin. Sometimes I remember I went to the dentist a few years ago with a lot of pain in my teeth. I was really scared, and I'm already terrified of the dentist anyway. So I went thinking, oh my gosh, what's she going to say? And she knew all about chronic illness, and she knew exactly what was going on. She said my teeth were healthy, my gums were healthy, it's the nerves. My nerves just... So I get bouts of horrible toothache and gum pain and gum irritation. And it's not because I have oral health issues, it is because the nerves are on overdrive and they're causing all the pain. So it's really fun. This sounds terrible, doesn't it? So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of what it can be like to live with fibromyalgia. As I said, I really, really don't hope this doesn't come across as me just being whiny and moaning about my illness. And you know what? I've had a few people that have said to me, oh, you could have it worse. There are people worse off than you. Of course there are people worse off than me. There will always be people worse off than me. But I have an illness that is incurable, is now being thought of as a progressive disease. The jury is still out on that one, but there are more studies being done to show, and they are showing that it is possibly a progressive disease. I will be turning 53 in a couple of months, and I can't tell you how much it absolutely scares the heck out of me to think that this could possibly progress into something to get worse. Now, what I do is I watch my diet. I gave up, not that I was a big drinker, I mean I was in my 20s, maybe my very early 30s, but I really didn't drink very much after my 20s, but I pretty much gave up alcohol. Sugar is something that is a huge trigger. Stress, you know, and so you really do learn to look at your lifestyle. You have to change the way that you live, and having fibromyalgia is a huge life changer, and you learn how to manage the symptoms best you can, and I approach each day as a fresh new day. It might not be a good day, but then the next day might be better, and then the next day after that might not be so great. But I try not to go down that rabbit hole of just despair, and I don't want to lose hope. And this is why I do so much art, because that's my therapy. Art, photography, being in nature, being in my garden. having the most understanding, most caring and empathetic husband I could ever ask for. Honestly, I don't know what I would do otherwise. So having my art and my nature and everything, I'm so thankful for that, because it really does help me get through some of the super rough days, and I have been having a lot of super rough days lately. So thankful for the for that. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and I really hope that you kind of learned a little something here. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching. And if you've made it all the way through this, extra thank you. And I will show you, I will do a separate video. I'm going to show you what I have been doing the last few months that's actually been helping me just make it through these really rough few months that I've been having. And I hope you like what I've been doing, and if I feel up to it, I'll do a demo video too, because it's been really super fun. I may not know you personally, but you know what, I am going to send all my love out to you and to the universe and to just everybody around me. I wish you all well, and thank you again. Take good care. Mwah.